time for your video store clerks to clock in for tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one king. One king of the monsters. But Dave, you crunchy taco dripping in hot love sauce, what is this you speak of? There's one king in cinema, horror cinema, the vampire. And tonight, we are talking all vampire movies, all night, all the time. Join us, video store clerks. Ah!
It's not a legacy I want to leave behind, but I am Chuck Nasty.
How the fuck am I out of whiskey already?
This shit can't be any fucking good.
Welcome to the store.
Hey now.
Hey now, welcome once again to Video Store Clerks. We are your humble clerks for the evening, here to talk all movies all the time. I'm Dave.
I'm Chad, man.
I'm Chuck Nasty.
And we are here, we are clocked in, so this is the hardest one we've ever done. This was harder than the John Carpenter one.
Pretty sure we say that every week now.
Yeah. They get harder and harder, but this one was ridiculous. We assigned ourselves. We do this to ourselves. Why? The impossible task of only picking 3 of our favorite vampire movies, for which there are many.
Too many.
Way too many. And they're all good. Well, not all, but 85% of them are good. From the dramatic to the gore to the horror to the thriller to the even comedy. You could break these up into all categories. We could easily all do a top 10.
Easily.
Yeah, easy. But then we'd be here all night and you'd get sick of us and nobody would watch anymore and it would be this whole thing. So we're just going to stick with the 3. I suspect we'll have a lot of honorable mentions, and if you're going to join us in the chat tonight and you brought your own list, if we don't match up, sorry, that doesn't mean we don't like the movies. It just means we can only pick 3. Freaking ridiculous. Why?
Very true.
So I guess we'll start this off as usual. I'm just going to wing it. I kind of went with which vampire movies could I pop in and watch anytime, no matter what kind of mood I'm in, and watch it all the way through and be entertained. That's the only way I knew to do it. Whether it's a good mood, a bad mood, whatever mood, if I see that movie, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to watch that. So number 3, I guess I'm going to say From Dusk Till Dawn.
It's a good one.
Oh, really?
Damn good one.
I thought you were going to go old school again, but
I know that was not on my list, but that's one that I was like, okay, so I'm glad that you. All right, continue.
Because I think I might have took some off my list that I think are going to be on yours, so I'm really curious. But anyway, I said From Dusk Till Dawn is my number 3. George Clooney, Harvey Keitel, all-star cast, in a movie that starts as a crime thriller. It follows the 2 bank robbers, the 2 brothers, and then all of a sudden, the second act, everything.
The geckos.
Yeah, that's right. Everything goes to hell, and it's fucking carnage inside the Titty Twister bar, where we get a great cameo by Cheech Marin.
A few times in the movie.
Yeah,
he's the border patrol. He's the vampire, right. And then he is the guy that they're meeting with.
Carlos.
Yeah, I just thought any place is better, good ever, man. Or whatever the fuck he says.
He's like, out of all the fucking bars, why did you have to pick this one?
He just walks up and punches him.
Yeah. I think the best line in the movie, though, is at the end whenever he's like, what are they, psychos? He's like, they look like psychos. Yeah. Your psychos explode whenever they get hit by sunlight. I don't give a fuck how crazy they are.
That dude, George Clooney really shows how much of a badass he is, though. And I mean, because that was the movie that I was like, all right, okay, he's not just a quote unquote pretty face as like the magazines and shit all said of those days, ER and all that,
Yeah, which I never watched. Like, I think my first, other than Roseanne, I think my real first exposure to George Clooney was that
It's
movie.
Booker. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Booker
Yeah.
with the mullet and everything. That was great.
Mhm.
Written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by the great Robert Rodriguez. You can't fucking go wrong. Love this
Yeah.
movie.
The story was actually, I think, Robert Kurtzman.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, this from the beginning to the end of this movie, it you can't stop watching it. I mean, it's one. I mean, it's entertaining from the beginning to the end. I mean, it really is. Fuck. I mean, Harvey Keitel playing a faithless preacher. Fucking Juliette Lewis. Danny Trejo, of course, is in it. But no, I one of my favorite parts of that movie, though, there's so many favorite parts of that fucking movie. Like, I mean, when they first like go into the liquor store, and dude behind the counter is like talking to the sheriff, and the microwave, like, and all that shit, and he's just sitting there talking. He's like, I heard him mouth the words, "Help us." He's like, I didn't say fucking help us, bro. And then it becomes a whole bloodbath.
Mhm.
There's a Benny's World of Blood. And then the part where Harvey Keitel is when the geckos get the family in the RV, and Seth is George Clooney's character is trying to have a conversation with Harvey Keitel, and Harvey Keitel is just not having it. And he's like, "Do you see how like this? I don't know. For some reason, this always used to crack me up. But the way that Harvey Keitel says, "No, I didn't," when he's asking him, like, "You see how my brother was staring at you, or did you like how my brother was staring at your daughter?" And he's like, "No, I didn't." It just, I don't know, always cracked us the fuck up. But yeah, there's some great fucking scenes. But Cheech Marin is the fucking vampire. Like, infamous scene. How many pussies does he name?
I don't even remember a lot.
If anybody can tell us how many different types of pussy the titty twister has, you get nothing. Just our gratitude.
Fact check. But
Good
yeah,
shit.
great movie. I feel like watching it right
Selma
now.
Hayek. Sorry.
Her
Can't forget
that
Selma
dance
Hayek.
scene with her,
Oh,
whenever she fucking.
mhm.
Oh wow.
Well, Quentin Tarantino has a thing for feet too. And no, remember, she puts her foot in his mouth and then pours the
Yeah.
whiskey down. I'm willing to bet that Quentin probably was rocking the sex machine as Tom Savini was in the movie. You know what I mean?
Who
Just
also
saying.
had a great cameo.
Mm-hmm.
And when they make the guitar out of the body parts.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's good stuff, man.
Fuck you all. Good night.
You ever say that?
He's going to now.
I think I've said it a couple of times live at older bands. Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, let's just keep moving. Go ahead, sir. Or do you want to skip to Chuck again?
I'll go. It's more like a kiddie type movie. I remember watching it whenever I was really young. It was pretty much, it's not quite Once Bitten, but it was pretty much a blatant rip-off of Once Bitten, which is My Best Friend's a Vampire.
Yeah. That's a good one. It's been a while since I've seen that one.
Yeah, man, like, I remember seeing that shit, like, when I was real young. Like, fucking came out, 87, so I'd have been 6, so it probably really wasn't far off from that. It really was like the fucking Once Bitten pretty much storyline, though. Like, the kid's in high school, fucking goes and fucks with the Countess. He gets bit, turns into a vampire.
Mhm.
Exact same movie. I almost said Once Bitten. That was almost my number 3.
And the guy that
That was-
plays the dude in the movie, he actually looks kind of like Jim Carrey, which is kind of funny. Like, and kind of creepy all at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But that movie
when
always
did
cracked me up.
When did that movie come out?
87.
God. Yeah, it's probably been since 88 since I've seen it.
Mhm.
You gotta watch that shit.
Yeah, no shit.
But it's a good one though. Like it's fun. Like it's just a goofy little movie, but just pretty much tells you what vampires are all about. Then it has kind of like some random like goofball trying to hunt him down the whole movie, but they think it's the other like his best friend.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the exact same movie.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it
haven't
really
seen that
does.
one in a long time.
But then like there's
No.
like another vampire guy that kind of teaches him how how to live as a vampire. So like they go to fucking like grocery stores and buy pig's blood. They just pretty much just live off pig's blood.
I'm trying to think.
That song, I Gotta Wear Shades, is in it. It's a good jam.
I gotta wear shades.
And
Yeah,
feeling all- getting good grades.
yeah.
Gotta wear shades.
I'm gonna have to look this movie up because it's been so long since I've seen it. But now, like little things are coming back. You know, are you all being able to hear me okay and everything?
Yeah.
All right, good. Just make sure. Shit was
Loud
being
and
kinda weird
clear.
earlier. All right.
What do you got for numero trace?
My number 3, like, I mean, at first I thought I had this in the bag. I was like,
Mhm.
I know this. And then it was like, yeah. My number 3 is kind of a, I don't know. I guess it's kind of a stereotypical pick, but it is one of my favorites of all time. And I have to put it on this list just because of what it is. Lost Boys. That's a movie that, I mean, as a kid, when I first saw it, I was like, man, these guys are badass. I want a mullet and fangs.
That was number 3.
Mhm.
That's
Wow.
interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, because my number 2 and my number 1 would be a little different. So but the thing is, number 3 was a toss up between like 5 different fucking movies. So, you know.
Right.
Huh?
You think this was easy, but then like you start thinking of them and you think of 20 more, and then you think of 20 more, and you're like, fuck, I forgot this one. I forgot that one.
Yeah.
I did the exact
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, you
Up
get-
till now, I think my final list is as we go.
pretty much.
Yeah. No, I mean, Lost Boys was just always a good movie. I mean, the cool punk kids that, you know, are punk kids, which are more like Thrasher kids, I guess. But
So that's my number 1 movie.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. See, I
I
figured
got-
it would probably be on somebody's list. Oh, shit. Yeah. I forgot you got that. Oh, yeah. That's a badass hat.
Even rocking the
Uh,
Lost Boys shirt today.
One of my favorite things about that movie, one of my favorite lines in that movie is at the end of it. With the grandfather, after everything happens, and he's like, one thing about Santa Carla I never could stomach. Oh, the damn vampires. And they're all like, you fucking knew. It's like, and if you go back and watch the movie and you see how the grandfather's acting towards everybody in the movie, that's why he's not staying there. He understands something's going on. Like when he's had, because him and Michael have like, they don't really have words, but Michael's kind of a dickhead to him a bunch. He just kind of looks at him, he's just like, nah. He's like, I know what this shit is. Like, and Max, the guy that plays Max, I can't remember what his fucking name is, but like, it's a great little twist. Even though you kind of figure it out, but at the same point, you're like, all right, this is pretty cool. A lot of memorable characters. The Frog Brothers, of course. Corey Haim playing Sam, the brother of Michael. Which there's things about there's some things about the parts of that movie that I don't get. Like, why does Corey Haim in his room? There is a poster of like one of those posters you'd see like your friend's older sister have hanging up above her bed of like a guy like, you know, with no shirt on, and he's all like why?
And then,
Like,
plus
and
he
then
had
there's like,
a watch on the wall. That was a clock.
yeah, and then,
Like,
but then
I
he
never saw that in chick bedrooms. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, like, I never saw
Yeah.
a dude with it in this room.
and then he had the stuffed beaver. So I don't know if they were trying to. I don't know if the grandfather was like, "Here, kid," you know. I don't know. Things that don't make sense. Even as a kid, I was like, "Why does he
I
have?"
think he had a lamp poster.
I think it was a bunch of adults that were like, okay, what would be in his bedroom,
And had no idea.
and had no idea.
I'd be willing
Like,
to bet.
the real thing, Corey Haim's like bedroom be like lines of cocaine.
Oh, he was the best one out of the Corys. Come on.
I mean, I'm a big fan. Like I was pissed that I never got him to sign my Lost Boys when I met him.
Yeah, no shit. I heard he was a really nice guy too.
He was. He bumped
Yeah.
a cigarette from me though.
Yeah, you killed him
Yeah.
too.
Fuck. Yeah, but also Joel Schumacher was the one that made the movie too, so that also could have some reason for certain pictures on the wall. Remember, he was the guy that created Batman's nipples. Throwing that out there. Rest in peace, Joel Schumacher. Yeah, that's my number 3 is Lost Boys. Complete classic. How can you know? I mean, you can't go wrong. It's a fun movie every time. Oh yeah, we can't forget about Kiefer
Soundtrack to
Sutherland
it is
being a
great.
badass.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's
just
the
it's a great
soundtrack.
story. Oh yeah,
There's
the
a
most
lot of-
infamous song.
Yeah. Cry Little Sister.
Hmm
I thought you were going to say I Still Believe.
No.
Oh, of course. You can't forget about saxophone guy.
Oh, Capello.
I still believe. I mean, it's you can't. It's not that whole song kind of sucks, but it's just like that one little part is kind of cool. But that guy's like he's riding on the coattails of Lost Boys now. Even still, like he plays shows and stuff just because he's that guy.
Yeah. He still wears the same outfit pretty much too.
Apparently he worked with Whitney Houston too. I was just told.
Yeah, he's like a big composer.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That
I
he's
did not know that
literally a
either.
big composer.
Yeah, he writes
Do
all
it.
kinds of shit.
I wasn't aware. Apparently he's got more to his credit than I realized.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Oh, the Lost Boys. I got a feeling we'll come back to the Lost. Actually, I know we'll come back to the Lost
we
Boys.
will.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just go with my number 2. I jumbled these together. I picked the whole Blade series. If I had to pick one, I'd say it was Blade 2.
Definitely not 3.
Definitely not 3. 3. 3. yeah.
Blade Trinity, is that what it was called?
Yeah, that's right.
Triple H and the Silver Fangs.
Which was probably one of the best parts of that movie.
I don't fucking remember that movie actually. I just remember it
Ryan
wasn't
Reynolds.
good.
Fucking Jessica Biel, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that movie sucked.
Yeah, that one sucked. The first 2 were great, especially the second one. And this
First
was
one, first was the best one.
with Stephen Dorff
Mm-hmm.
as the bad guy, and that part with Tracy Lords at the beginning.
I mean, it's got Tracy Lords at the beginning.
You can't go wrong. Every time Tracy Lords is in a movie, it's awesome.
Really?
I'm a
I'm gonna
fan.
go back. Yeah. Did you have her Betamaxes too, Dave? Can you talk about that?
No, but I had the internet when I got older. Anyway,
Okay. Yeah. We'll
I
move
remember
on,
the scene. There was a scene with a tennis racket.
though. Okay. First, let's talk
What was I
about
talking about?
about
Oh yeah, Blade.
Blade. You got lost on Tracy Lords. Sorry.
This was at a time in the late '90s before people knew how to make superhero movies, and was probably gave birth to the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we have today. That's slowly crashing and burning. I heard once upon a time they were going to do a Blade and Underworld crossover,
Yeah.
which would have been awesome, but the rights
That would've
went to
been good.
Marvel. That would have been awesome.
Would it have been though?
On paper, it sounds like it would be awesome. I don't know.
On
how-
paper, a lot of things look good.
Yeah, this is true.
The idea is good.
Yeah, the idea is good. It
If
had
they
it.
fuck it up, it'll be different.
Would it have been
Yeah.
good? I guess we'll never know. The new Blade series that we might get someday. I like the dude Platinum, but I don't know the way things are going lately with Marvel and Disney and whatnot. I don't know what we're gonna get.
Is that the shaved head guy that was playing him? Wasn't there already a Blade show?
There was a TV show at one time.
That's what I'm
don't
thinking
know-
of.
Yeah, I don't think it was on long. I don't even remember it. I think it just
I'm
came
sorry.
in.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think the guy that was playing Blade in the TV show was a porn star.
Really?
I think that I remember that being a thing. I think, unless I saw the wrong Blade. In that case, I'm sorry.
You saw the
But-
Blade.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was, though. Was the whole thing that
Sticky
was
Fingers. Sticky Fingers was Blade.
Oh, okay.
Spike TV actually had it in 2006. Had like 13 episodes. I don't remember
makes
that
sense.
at all. I don't
I,
remember that.
I do remember that. Yeah, I never watched the show. I just remember I thought that was like a whole thing or some shit. Whatever.
And
Now I
they
feel
also
like a
once
dirty
upon
boy.
time they were going to do a prequel series with Stephen Dorff starring as a young Deacon was his name. Blade
so.
Unsheathed.
Lord. Can we move on now?
On that note, you're number 2.
Number 2, Blackula.
Which actually was a
Yes.
good movie.
It is a really good movie. An
Yeah,
African
that was-
to Transylvania and then becomes a fucking vampire and then ends up waking up decades later in New York City. Or is it Chicago? I think it was Chicago.
Was it Chicago? I don't remember.
You can't forget Die Blackula Die either, but it's not as good as the original Blackula.
But, I mean, I don't know. Like that movie was a whole fucking. It was a revolutionary. Like,
Yeah,
Well,
definitely
yeah,
a product of its time. Like you couldn't even air that now. I don't think.
no.
No.
Well, that was a time of like black exploitation films and shit like that. And that
Yeah.
was one of the ones that was like, oh, let's start doing horror movies. And that was that was also Peter Steele from Typo Negative. That was also one of his favorite movies.
oh really?
Yeah, he loved
It's
that
a good
movie.
movie, man. Like, you can't go wrong. It's just basically like a crazy love story. In the end.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then she dies, and then he just fucking walks into the sunlight and says, "Fuck it, I'm out."
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alerts, but if you haven't seen that by now, you're retarded.
Oh, oops. Why are you watching this stuff? What are you doing? What are you doing? And the dude that played Blackula was good.
Yeah, William Marshall.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
Like I believed it.
And then in the second
Yeah.
one, that's when they brought Pam Grier in, and she played the female lead.
Oh, I never saw. The
You can't go wrong with Pam Grier.
Scream, Blackula, Scream.
Yep. Oh, yeah, but that's what I was saying. Not Die Blackula Die. Was there a
Yeah.
Die Blackula Die?
I don't
No,
believe
well,
so.
it was Scream Blackula Scream is what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, I never seen that one. So what am I doing? What am I?
I don't know.
What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life, Dave?
But if anybody hasn't seen those, they're both really good. I put both of them together as my number 2.
I can dig that.
I actually just watched both of them yesterday.
I need to watch those. I haven't seen those in forever.
Yeah, because I remember when I first watched it, I thought it was like some trash I was going to be making fun of.
Yeah.
Like Troll 2 kind of thing, and it was actually a good movie. Surprisingly.
It's dope. There's like not a whole lot of people out there really, I think, that have seen that movie.
Yeah. It's a good one.
All right, are you ready, Chuck?
Yeah. I'm sitting here. I'm pulling a Chad. I'm over here tossing back and forth here. Okay. So my number 2. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with this because we got honorable mentions too. So
Yeah, we have.
I have to put this one at my number 2 because it is one of the best tellings besides the Bela Lugosi, besides Nosferatu, which we'll get to. Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Nice.
I mean, dude. I mean, if you go back and read the book and watch that movie, like that. That's always kind of how when I read the book when I was younger, and then I saw the movie. Well, I might have saw the movie before that actually. Whatever. Either way, that's what I always think of is the characters from that and shit. Gary Oldman's a fucking master of his craft. He can play anything.
Most versatile actor on the planet.
Oh,
He's
dude,
great.
yeah. I mean, and also, and just like Blackula, of course, like the original idea of Dracula, it's a love story. It's a fucked up love story. I mean, the beginning of the fucking movie is brutal as shit. You know what I mean? Like he goes off to fucking battle, to fucking fight for all this shit, comes back, finds out his woman's dead. What's a man to do when you're in love? And she's dead. And what's he do? He denounces God and he wants revenge on it all. And it's perfect. It's the perfect opening for the fucking movie. It's great. I love it. And there's so many great fucked up scenes in that movie. I mean, how many movies besides the Howling like films have you ever seen a werewolf having sex? I haven't. Besides Howling, like those movies, but
Yeah.
other than that, I've never been blessed enough. There's some fucked up scenes in this movie. I mean, it's a very sexually, was it sexual blood? Well, no, I'm trying to think of a different way of wording this. Like, it's a bloody love story. There we go. And it's a classic. It is.
I like the
So,
look
yeah.
too. Like
Yeah.
plus like the way it was filmed was kind of gritty too. Like
Yeah.
old school shit.
Yeah.
I was
I
just
didn't-
going to say it was beautifully shot. Like the cinematography in that movie was crazy. Francis Ford Coppola, actually. I think it won a couple Oscars too.
Yeah, it won some awards. I can't remember what it won though.
which
Like,
is really
I-
unusual for a horror movie. I think the only other time was Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say so. That sounds about right. Yeah, the way it was shot, I hadn't seen this movie in a while, and actually recently rewatched it a few weeks back, and I didn't realize how fucked up it like I didn't realize that how it was shot. I forgot like the cinematography of it all. It's just the weird shots, man. And I don't know. It's a real I mean it's borderline a fucked up like trip. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's great.
There was
And
the
Tom
hand
Waits.
Oh,
And Tom Waits.
that name sounds familiar. Who's that?
Tom Waits, singer, poet, actor. He plays fucking oh god, how am I'm the master's coming.
Renfield.
Redfield, yeah. Yeah, that's who's playing him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Great.
And the hand that comes down from the carriage and touches Keanu Reeves' shoulder. All the shots of Dracula's cape or robe that he's wearing, like all the shadows. That great shot when he's turned into a bat and the cross is like in that POV thing, and then the cross catches fire.
Yeah.
I always think of that shot when I think of that movie for some reason.
I would have to say that when it comes down to certain scenes that come to mind the most, besides the first part, is when Keanu Reeves is like not able to go anywhere because he is being sucked, like literally drained of his of any of his energy and all that shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of it's as a kid, you're just kind of like, oh, that's kind of what. And then you get older and you're like, that's cool.
Yeah, right. It's different when you watch it as a kid and did it as an adult. And Anthony Hopkins had a great part.
Oh yeah, of course. You can't forget Sir Anthony Hopkins.
And all the different looks Gary Oldman had. He was in the armor. He was in the suit with the hat and glasses. And it's just a very cool movie. I think that's probably the best remake ever of any remake.
It is. Yeah. It's hard for me to watch any Dracula movie after that and be 100% happy with it, just because I see Gary Oldman's Dracula.
Right.
That's just, I don't know. Like that was it the Dracula. What was Dracula Unlimited or whatever the fuck that movie was that came out a few years ago. Untold. Unlimited. He's now a trendy thing in the mall.
That wasn't the longest 2 hours of my life.
Yeah, when I first watched it, I liked it. And I realized it was just because I was really high. And then I watched it again. I couldn't even get through it the second time I tried to watch it. I was like, that isn't as good as I thought it was the first time. But yeah.
That whole scene, he's like stuck in the cave. That shit sucked.
He
It's boring.
was stuck in a cave.
Yeah, good pick. That, of course, was almost on my list, too. I was back and forth on that.
Everything was almost on my list.
Everything was on the list. I think we'll touch on it a lot. But I guess we had the same number one.
Yeah, we did.
I said The Lost Boys. Too many childhood memories. I love this movie as a kid. When I was a kid, I had The Lost Boys on the same tape as The Monster Squad. And that motherfucker was probably onion skin thin. It was in the VCR all the time.
Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland rocked that mullet like no other. Yeah, like you said with the Frog Brothers. Poor Joel Schumacher got a lot of shit for Batman and Robin, but he made a great movie with the Lost Boys.
Oh, dude,
It
yeah.
wasn't his fault. It was Warner Brothers' fault.
Yeah. Like when I first saw Lost Boys, actually it's kind of funny because I do remember the first time I saw that movie, and I watched it back to back with the Doors movie. I was it was the night before I went to summer camp, okay, which believe it or not was a Christian camp, and I remember how old I was. Fucking maybe like 12, maybe a little younger. I don't know. I can't remember, but I remember like just watching those movies. I was like, I'm gonna be as cool as these guys when I go. That didn't happen that way. It's like, all right, this is my motivation. I'm gonna be the cool vampire dude. No, that doesn't work too well with kids when you act like you're a werewolf and shit. No.
The hair, the music, the motorcycles. It had scary parts. It had funny parts. Great. movie.
Just like Monster Squad, it also had a great what do you call it? Like preparation clip, like little collage of them getting stuff together.
Oh yeah,
Where
little
they're filling up the bathtub and shit, and all that. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
montage of them getting ready, like
montage.
battle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the maggots.
They're maggots, Michael. What?
I could see me like partying down in a little cave like that. That'd be dope. Like,
I always
showed
thought
up.
that.
Yeah.
Too.
That
Yeah.
was a nice spot.
Mm-hmm. Doing that thing on the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of these YouTube channels that have they go to different locations and stuff. And there was this one that I watched called Grim Life Collective. And they went to where the cave was, where they filmed all that. It's caved in now.
Right.
Like, yeah, like it's all, and the water goes way up to it and shit. Like that whole scene where like they first are going out of the cave, like you just see like the POV of, you know, like all that shit, like all that's like completely caved in.
See, I also think that I think Kiefer and Alex Winter were the only actual actors in the movie. Like the other two guys, I think were like models or something before they did that movie.
Yeah, and one of them passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought the cave was a set. That was an actual cave. How did they get everything in there?
I think it was. I can't remember if it was where they filmed all that, or if it was just where they did the POV shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but from the way they were talking, there was because it didn't seem like it was that big of an area in there. But I don't know. I would like to have a cool place like that to hang out.
Right. That was like the ultimate party spot.
Oh, for sure.
Like, so if I ever strike it rich for whatever goddamn reason, I'm gonna have like a cave for my basement, okay? And I'm gonna have somebody recreate that set. That'll be my man cave.
Man cave.
That'll be my man cave with all the posters and everything. That'd be cool as fuck.
See, I always wanted to find like the real bottle, like the one that they were drinking out of that had his blood in it.
Oh yeah.
That was a dope looking bottle. Remember, they're just sitting there smoking some weed and waiting for Chinese food to come back.
I mean, if somebody was like, "Hey man, drink some of this," and it wasn't that cool thing, I'd probably swig it.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
If anybody would come to me and be like, "Hey, I'll make you a vampire," I'd probably be like, "All right."
All right.
Yeah, that's all you had to say. Like, it's like, dude, why do you have to beat around the bush? It's like, hey, you want to be like part of the undead? Like, is that
Right.
cool? Yeah, sure.
I would volunteer for that shit.
I mean, all you gotta do is just be like, hey, what do I need to do? What not to do? Like, come on, make me the undead.
Now we know. Now you know what we are. Now you know what you are.
Yeah,
So, Lost Boys. Great.
Lost Boys.
All right,
Classic
drum
movie.
roll, please. Chuck Nasty, what is your number one?
Number one, the one that kind of did it all, man. Before Lugosi, there was the bald-headed, rat-looking motherfucker we all know as Nosferatu, Count Orlok. I also have to mention Shadow of the Vampire. If you haven't seen that movie as well, that movie is the idea of what possibly happened with Max Schreck, who played the Count. Totally different. I mean, like when you're a kid, you watch Dracula, you know, the Bela Lugosi and Bram Stoker, and then you go back and watch Nosferatu, you're kind of thrown because it's totally different. It's not, you know, because he's not some debonair guy. He's this horrible looking creature that just, you know, the famous scene, you know, of him walking up the stairs, you just see the shadow going up the stairs and shit. And also in Shadow of the Vampire, which is based on the idea of what happened behind the scenes in this movie, Willem Dafoe plays a great Nosferatu. He plays a great Count. So if you haven't seen either one of those, then what the fuck's wrong with you? They're both good. Nosferatu, it's creepy too. I mean, I love watching that fucking movie. I've got two different versions of that movie on DVD. I've got the it's a one DVD that's got two different soundtracks to it, two different scores. One of them's like a symphonic kind of thing, and the other one's like more of a traditional kind of sound. And then the other one I've got is it's Typo Negative. It's nothing
wow.
but Typo Negative music while you're watching Nosferatu. And yeah, like Typo's one of my favorite bands. They didn't mention a bunch already tonight, so that's okay. But I love Typo Negative, and I can, if I have a movie, it's a silent film. Fuck yeah, I love it. Like, but the thing is, the music's Typo Negative that they throw on there. It makes sense up until like the middle, and they're just like throwing shit in there because they're like, what sounds vampiric? Okay, you know. But
I
yeah,
like listening to Dark Side and watching Wizard of Oz.
right, yeah, kind of, yeah. But this movie always freaked me out, even now. Like I this is one of those movies where you get a big bowl of popcorn, you load up on the Blue Boys, and you know, roll you a few and turn off the lights and light a few candles and enjoy, because it's a fucking classic, and it's always a favorite to watch.
Came out in the 1920s, I believe. It's
Like 22, I think.
silent film, but the silent film part of the thing adds to the creepiness.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, even though it is like a silent film, it is pretty fucking creepy.
And
Any silent film is terrifying to me. They all creep me out. It doesn't matter. It could be a romance. Terrifying. It's just the way they look, the way they act is like, you know, it just freaks me the fuck out. I love
It's
it.
like they're overly emotional.
Yeah,
they
like
always had to
the
do
acting.
everything. And that film gave birth. If it wasn't for that film, I kind of doubt we'd have all the vampire movies that we had to list tonight. I don't think 1930s Dracula probably never would have happened.
I mean, it would have eventually. Maybe not as early, but at some point.
Maybe.
That's a good question. That's a good thing to think about, because I would say there probably would have been. But I would also say that it probably would have been a little later before the Universal Monsters thing happened.
Right.
If it wasn't for Nosferatu. And also, I just love saying Nosferatu. Just to let you know. Yeah,
And
it's just fun to
Dracula
say.
was the first Universal monster.
I always wanted to watch that series too, but I never really got around to watching that series, Nosferatu.
Oh, the Joe Hill show.
It came out a few years ago or whatever.
Yeah, I've watched 3
I think it's
episodes.
better.
With the dude that played in Heroes. What was his name?
Yeah.
I think it's on Shudder though.
I did watch that. I watched it when it came out, but I kind of don't remember it now.
I hate that guy that played in that, so maybe that's another reason why I can't watch it.
Didn't like the one dude from American Horror Story playing it? or
American
something?
Horror
Yeah, that's
Story, yeah.
That's the
that's the
guy.
guy.
I'm thinking. I can't think of his name.
He also was Spock.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't care.
Star Trek.
Yeah. Heroes was a good show though. The first season was good.
We could be heroes
Just for
just for one day.
Oh my gosh. So now the equally hardest part are honorable mentions.
First, I want to say one thing.
Okay.
Like, they need to make some new vampire movies that are like old vampire movies instead of like doing like modern day vampires.
I
where,
know.
Like, they,
God.
like hang out in like rave clubs and all that bullshit.
So
like,
fucking stupid.
it's
Yeah.
just played
I hate, Richard, that was almost on my list. I really did put almost what we do in the shadows.
Movie's hilarious.
I love that movie. I almost put that on my list. And the Johnny Depp Dark Shadows movie was actually funny too.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been a bad
love
one either.
I
Yeah.
love what we do in the shadows.
Show's good too. The show's fucking equally as funny.
I got to
I
get
mean,
caught
it
up
was
on
fun.
that.
Yeah. So do we are we gonna start on our honorable mentions?
Yeah, I guess
More
we'll
so.
just keep going. I guess one of my honorable mentions is what we do in the shadows, because that was another one that was almost on my list. I almost put Nosferatu too, but I figured you were gonna say that, so I was like, okay, I'll just let that one go, because I mean, Jesus God, there's so many of them.
They really are.
It wasn't hard to think of something else, but I'll take that as my honorable mention for sure.
But you, Chad. Let's just go around. Let's keep doing honorable mentions. I mean, we have a ton.
I'm gonna say Fright Night. That was always a big, fun
Yep.
vampire movie for me whenever I was a kid. Like it was, I don't know, like it back in that era, like too, like that's whenever I really got into like monsters and horror movies and shit. So like vampires were always my like main go-to back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like he was always my favorite monster. And then
Gary Dandridge.
like that whole movie.
You're
was-
so cool, Brewster. I love that fucking movie, dude. What did you think about speaking of, what did y'all think about the remake of that?
I was just thinking that. It wasn't bad. It actually wasn't bad. I like Colin Farrell in that. I like the kid wasn't nearly as annoying as I thought he was going to be.
No, like the
Yeah.
sequel sucked. I didn't care for the sequel.
I only saw it once. I don't even remember it. It must have-
The original sequel?
No,
Or did they make-
the newer sequel? They did.
I didn't even know they made a new one.
Yeah, with like the Countess, and then they were like in Amsterdam or some shit.
Oh,
that's
so they just basically just ripped off the
Yeah.
original sequel, which wasn't good either. So
No,
I thought about Dracula Dead and loving it too. I think you said that.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's a funny one. That's a good one.
I mean, you gotta love anything Leslie Nielsen does.
Yeah,
You fucking killed him too.
But- you know what? The Fright Night thing, though, man. I love the idea of the when you're a kid and like somebody new moves in, and you're like, oh well, that something's weird's going on, or whatever, and the idea that there is actually something weird going on next door, like I don't know, you kind of sink your teeth, no pun intended, into that kind of like watching that kind of movie. And also some of the scenes like the monster, some of the makeup and special effects in that movie really badass too. Like yeah. And Chris Sarandon, I mean, he's a good actor. I mean, he's give the devil his due on this one. I mean, Chris Sarandon did an awesome job.
What's
He was also in Bordello of Blood.
Oh,
Amanda.
Amanda Beers.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she did that until she turned into a vampire. Then she was one ugly bitch. And she was
I
the
thought she looked
ugliest
better that way.
ever.
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
What was it? Evil was probably the best part of that movie. He
yeah.
was my favorite character by far.
Yeah. It took me a minute to like him because as a kid I was like, he really annoys the fuck out of me because he reminded me of like 6 friends I had, and when I look back on it, probably a little bit of me too, which makes it even worse. But yeah,
Whenever he gets that fucking cross put on his forehead, I guess like
it's all like sticky and shit. Like
that scene's
it's
fucking
fucking
great.
good. Yeah, see,
30
it
days.
pays to be a horror fan.
It really does. I didn't
For
mind 30
vampires.
Days a Night.
Yeah, Amber said 30 Days a Night too. I only saw that like when it came out. I went to go see it, but that was the only time I've seen it. I don't remember.
That's a good one. I like that one because it's a different take on the vampires.
Right.
Because they're not like like all pretty and they're like, we're out for blood, we're gonna slaughter the entire town, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Like, what better
And-
place for a vampire to live is like in Alaska whenever there's fucking just
Oh yeah.
nighttime.
30 days of night, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Can't
that's
run
like-
then.
Right. You're just out and about doing whatever you want to do. It's like a vacation.
Which I mean, that's a terrifying fucking location for any horror movie, though. I mean, because usually, like in horror movies, you wait till day, right? There's no day.
Right.
You're constantly in dark. Therefore,
you're
you're
just
constantly being stalked and murdered. Oh yeah. Let the right one in, man. Yeah,
I almost said that one too.
yeah.
Great movie.
Both those are good, actually. Both
Yeah.
of them are
Yeah.
good.
The American
Yeah.
one wasn't bad neither.
Dave said he almost put that on
Yeah,
his list
yeah, I
at first,
did.
too.
I almost put that one on too because it wasn't just a great vampire movie. It was a great movie.
It's a great story. Yeah,
Mhm. Definitely something different. Yeah, both versions. I agree. The American one wasn't bad neither.
yeah.
I almost
Vampire
said
in
that
Brooklyn.
too. I almost said that too. See,
That's a
like
very
I said,
underrated
man,
Wes Craven film.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that was almost on my list too.
And that's what I say. Every time I thought I had the 3, I would think of 20 more. And this was
Guys, you froze. Hey guys. So yeah, Vampire in Brooklyn, good movie. Yep, just me right now. All right. Well, yeah, Vampire in Brooklyn, good fucking movie. Very underrated Wes Craven film. It was one of the first movies I got when Columbia House was still putting out. You can get movies for 99 cents, and I got that. And it's a lot of my friends were like, "This movie's stupid." I thought it was fucking funny. Why? Because evil is good. Eddie Murphy even says it. Their feed got cursed. I guess. I don't know. This is awkward now. It's like I talk so much as it is. Now it's just me, and I'm like, "Fuck, guys, where are you?" Come on, come back. Yeah, Vampire Brooklyn, good movie, very good movie, funny. It has one of my favorite jokes in it from a horror movie. Was it when dude's talking to Eddie Murphy, and he's like, "What's the quickest way to a woman's heart?" Or church, quickest way to a woman's heart through church. And he goes, "Actually, it's through the rib cage." I always thought that was funny.